Hi, how are you doing, eh? Hope you're having a good day. I'm having a pretty good day now. I've always got filthy hands and I've always got an excuse for having filthy hands. And in this case I've just changed the wheel on my car. It was the only way I could get back. The front wheel hit something and the tyre, all the air came out of the tyre. I had to sort of just had to do something. I couldn't move the car unless I did something to the tyre. But that's life. I think things are always being thrown at us and we just have to react in real time. Get things done, you know. So anyway, this video, crazy week coming up if you're watching this on the 17th of January, Sunday, which is the day I'm going to post this video. But a lot of people watch these videos in the future and that is absolutely cool. You'll be drawn to the video when it's the right time for you to watch it. So if you're watching now, it's the right time now. But if you're actually watching on the day, I'm doing this just as we go into a week of hopefully not too much craziness. I think there's going to be some craziness, but the moon is just about to enter Aries. It's entering Aries, I think 7 minutes past 11 p.m. Pacific, 7 minutes past 2 a.m. Eastern. In the UK it's going to be 7 minutes past 7 a.m. So anyway, it's definitely going to be an Aries moon, and the thing about that is we're coming up to half moon on Wednesday the 20th, and of course that is Inauguration Day in the States, so we're really going to, you know, finally get, I hope we get closure. I really hope we get closure on the political situation. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not a politician. I'm not going to get into all that, but God, I just hope we get closure, because I'm in UK, but you know, these things have a knock-on effect all around the world. They really do. Anyway, Tarot in Wonderland is the deck that we're going with now, and I'm going to do a 5-card pick a card reading, so you can pick a card or you can pick all 5. It's entirely up to you, and using the Wonderland Tarot, which is just about my favourite deck, I think. I've only had it for about a year or so now, I suppose, but it's the deck I read with most of the time. You know, if you look back on my channel somewhere, there's a video where I unboxed this when I first got it, and I've always had a good feeling about it. I come from a town in the north of England where the author of the Alice in Wonderland books was actually staying at the time he gathered up the inspiration to write quite a lot of them. And I've seen some of the things. I've seen the Grinning Cheshire Cat, which was a stuffed lion in a museum. The town is called Sunderland. Anyway, enough of that. I'm having a good old shuffle here. And I just want to find out, you know, my intention really is, you know, to get a spread for the week ahead. But I never go too far with the intentions when I'm making a YouTube video, because I want it to be for people, whatever's on your mind, you know, at the time you're actually watching the video, whether that's now or in the future. That's the general idea. Big thanks to all my new subscribers, by the way. More people seem to be subscribing all the time at the moment, which is absolutely great news for me and great news for the channel. Do please kind of share me around your social media and stuff, help me get the word out. That would be a big help. Thanks also for donations that have been coming into my page at ko-fi.com/Andy's Readings. There's a link to it down there. Anyway, right, that's enough of that. Let's get stuck into doing a reading. I've dropped they've got a mind of their own, these cards. This is why I love them. I'm going to take the top 5 off the top. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. I'm going to put the rest of them out of the way. And now is the time, friends. You can pick a card or you can pick all 5. If I can just fan them out in as near to expertly as I can do it. Card 1, card 2, card 3, card 4 and card 5. Okay, and we'll go along in that order and we'll see what actually comes out of this, because the tarot is the most amazing wisdom. I'm sure we've all got our own ideas about what's going to be happening next week on Inauguration Day, when it's also half moon day, when the moon ends first quarter and enters the second quarter, comes up to full then, which is going to be on the 28th of January. I may have said the 30th of January in a previous video, but I hadn't checked, I hadn't done my homework, and I have now, and it's going to be the 28th. So we're getting close to that fullness of the moon when she's, in that second quarter. The energy really builds up, the lunar energy, and that brings with it all the cosmic energy. It's all building up, and I hope it's building up to an inauguration day that's going to take us into a much calmer future. It's been said in astrology that January is going to be like living in a building site, and we're halfway through it at the time I'm making this video, and it's a building site that we kind of are supposed to have to put up with, because we're eventually going to have a much better world to live in one way or another. Could be the key to the whole of 2021, that actually, because we are getting ever near the age of Aquarius that people are always talking about. But anyway, let's get on to card number one. If you picked card number one, it's this one. What's it going to be? Friends, it is the Two of Cups. This is what it's all about. And we can see the Mad Hatter and the Mad March Hare having a bit of a tea party here. Two of Cups. It's a real positive card. There's a lot of love indicated in this card as well. Very positive. And if you're on the lookout for a new relationship or to strengthen an existing relationship, this is a really positive card for you, a great card for you. I'm just turning it round because I don't have the luxury of one of those cameras that's got a screen on top to look in. Maybe one day, that's what I hope for. But I'm taking a look at it, and there's a green teapot flying in the sky there, and that's just making me think, situation at the moment is very pie in the sky, and it really is, isn't it? I know it's very serious stuff that's going on in the world, and I'm not trying to say, it's all kind of, meaningless or just a story or something like that, because it's very real and having a very gritty and true effect on people's lives. But the fact is, when the world's like this, it isn't being its normal self. Sooner or later things are going to change. Sooner or later there's going to be a great settling down of things, and that's really what all this stuff that we're going through at the moment is really all about. We've got two cups, because it's the Two of Cups, of course, and they're appearing like chalices there, and they are being filled up from this teapot which is flying in the sky. And it's the last thing you'd expect, isn't it, a green teapot flying in the sky? And I think that's the whole point of the message of this card. When we get into the area of love and human love, and that's what's kind of beating in all our hearts as we're trying to make sense of what's going on at the present time, and trying to decide where it's going. It's in our hearts that it really matters, We can all get through these situations from day to day. It's not very easy, and I appreciate that many of you are going through quite hard times at the moment, just because many people in the world are. And I'm sort of no exception. I'm cut off from the world in lots of ways. Just because we're having real massive lockdown restrictions in the UK at the moment. But I don't know, I've got a roof over my head. I was moaning about changing the wheel on the car, but it's cool. I still drove the car home, I've still got a car. So I've got nothing to complain about, really. But in my heart of hearts, I would like to know that things were going to get better, that things were going to improve. And they actually will, There's no doubt about it. We get into situations like the one we're in at the moment, and the only way is up. That's a real, true fact of life, and the way is certainly pointing up when we get to the Two of Cups. Now there's always a bit of a slightly different take on the tarot in any deck you read, and in Tarot in Wonderland it's all in the Alice in Wonderland kind of story, and Alice herself, who's not appearing in this card, at one point in the story, she's not sure which way to go, and she asks for advice, and she gets told, well, you can either go and see the Mad Hatter or the Mad March Hare. It doesn't matter which you go and see, they're both mad. And, whichever side of the coin ends up sort of winning the day as we go through this week, it's still going to be a mad situation, and we're still going to have to make the most of it. But love is indicated in this card in a very powerful, very strong kind of a way. There are playing cards lying all over the ground, and I don't know how well my camera's focusing. Hope it's focusing well on this card. But take a close look at this card. There are playing cards all over the ground, and in Tarot in Wonderland, that means it's game on. That means it's stuff happening, That means really things are going to happen. I can only see 3 or 4 of them that are lying face down, and in this deck when they're lying face down, it's kind of, you know, stuff has been decided, nothing we can do about it anymore. And you can bet that in any political situation, stuff has already been decided. It's bound to have happened, it's bound to be the case. That is just how it all works with that craziness that somehow rules all our lives. But things are changing for the better. That's the overall message of this card. The trees in this card have got brown leaves all over them, as if kind of the leaves are about to fall off. And so it's, you know, we're in winter for sure, but there's a sort of autumn of the soul going on at the moment, a fall of the soul. The leaves are going to fall, leave the branches bare, and then green shoots are going to appear. Lovely green on the trees is going to kind of come back, and that's really good news, I think, for a lot of us, because we've all been through really kind of very difficult, very trying times, particularly in the last year. And I know there have been a lot of worries going back, well, years and years now, which are going to be all coming to a head on Inauguration Day, let's face it. Anyway, drop a nice, oh, I just love that, Berkey filtered water. Can't beat it. It tastes so different to the stuff that comes out of the tap. Mind, we're lucky in UK, we can still drink the stuff that comes out of the tap, or at least we can in this part of the world. Anyway, right, card number 2. What have we got for card number 2? Did you pick card number 2? This is for you. If you picked all 5, then this is kind of starting to move on with the journey. I'm not doing a horseshoe spread here. This is a kind of linear progression of what's going to be happening. And this, right, is number 12 in the Major Arcana, and it's the Hanged Man. Now, there are 2 ways of viewing the Hanged Man. Either the person who's hanging, or you, if you're kind of hanging around and not getting things done, need to get things done. Or on the other hand, maybe it's the best thing to be hanging around. All it really says is someone or something is hanging around. Now, is that you, friends, in your life? Are you sort of waiting with bated breath to see what happens? Maybe either on Wednesday, but maybe not just Wednesday, maybe in the whole year ahead. Are you waiting to see what happens before you actually move on? Now, in the situation that we've got in the world at the moment, it's very tempting to just wait and see, wait and see. It seems like a very sensible course of action, but the fact is, every day is given to us for a reason. Every day is something to make the most of. And sometimes it is good to have a day of rest. And I'm posting this video on a Sunday, so hopefully it's got that kind of day of rest feeling about it. A day of rest is really important for spiritual contemplation, like, you know, it's the Sabbath. And just, you know, just to have some time to rest and relax, it's really important. Work is important, it's the stuff of life, it's what makes things happen, it's what makes the world go round. But, you know, I had an uncle once who, sadly, he's gone to spirit now, and he lived in Canada. Very, very hard-working people, actually, in Canada, and I have a lot of respect for that, you know, work ethic. But I often used to wonder, he lived in Toronto, in Ontario, and he worked for Ford, and he had to work kind of about like 6.5 days a week. You know, he never actually got a day off. I think he got 1 week of paid holiday every year, and that was it. And I just used to wonder, it was good money, and, you know, he raised his family well, he paid for everything. None of his family ever went without. Even after he passed away, he'd made great provision for them, and that's great. But he worked and worked and worked, and he never really got any time to himself. And that always seemed like a great shame. I went out to visit them, and he had, I think he'd taken 2 days out of his week off to kind of, you know, show me a good time. I was very, very grateful for that. But what a shame, you know, because then he picked up cancer, and he, you know, only really stopped work just before he passed away. And you know, all rest and no play, all work and no play. That's what I'm trying to say. We've got that one mixed up there. That's a shame, you know. So it is really a good thing to hang around sometimes, but at the same time, it's what we do when we're not hanging around that makes life what it is. That keeps the world turning, keeps the fire burning, all of that. So that's card number 2. That's the Hanged Man. And as we go through the week, one hanged man in particular, if no one hangs him, and I think a lot of people would like to, that the hanged man situation, that's kind of the elephant in the room, that's kind of Trump basically. He's going to be very much unhanged in terms of not being hanging around anymore. Stuff is going to happen. There's going to be no stopping it. And all his efforts to change the course of events have failed so far. He's the hanged man in that he's hanging on and hanging on when really nobody wants him to. Not even his own people, as far as I can see. Anyway, I don't want to get too much into American politics because I don't live in America. I don't know what it feels like. But I really want to touch on this because it's what goes on in the White House has an effect all over the world, and it does affect us in Britain. It really does. Trump is, or was anyway, quite good friends with Boris Johnson, our Prime Minister. And so, Trump's ideas, Trump's suggestions do come into the way life is in UK. There's no escaping from that. And wherever we are in the world, there is no escape from it. And that is why Trump matters to me. And that's why I really wanted to touch on it. But, if you're watching in the States, or even if you're watching in Canada, you'll know a lot more about that than I do. But please take that card, the Hanged Man, as, really something to do with the political situation, something to do with Trump. It really, really stands out to me about the Hanged Man. So now we come to card number 3, and this is the very kind of heart of the matter. It's not a horseshoe spread, for sure. I'm kind of picking 5 cards, so they're going in a straight line. But card number 3, it's the middle card, so, it's slap bang in the middle of what we're all asking and inquiring about at the moment. And something I love about these videos is you can have your own intent for the reading. You can have your reason, your thing that you're trying to find out. And, however many people watch the video, there can be a different interpretation coming from everyone, and I love that about this. It's very like the way you can light 1,000,000 candles from one candle and it won't actually take anything away from that candle, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. Card number 3, Major Arcana again. We're getting Major Arcana coming up big style here. It's number 16. It's the Tower of Destruction, friends. Now this is the heart of the matter, and in the Major Arcana, right, this card is coming, this is 3 cards after the Death card. Took me a while to count from 13 to 16 there. Shows you how clever I am. Not. But yeah, number 16, it's the Tower of Destruction. And what's very interesting about this is that as the heart of the matter, when we're asking about a week, when right in the middle of the week, on Wednesday the 20th, Inauguration Day happens and everything changes. Trump is down the road and Mr. Biden comes into sort of full power. It's a day of big changes. Looks like rockets, looks like fireworks going off all over the place in this card. This is quite a scene of destruction, actually. But I don't want this to worry anybody. It's really important not to get concerned about this, because whichever tarot deck we're reading from, the Tower of Destruction is always a kind of a painless thing. It's a big change, it's certainly a big disruption, and there's going to be some cleaning up to do after it. But it's not a really bad thing. In the most traditional visions of the Tower that we get in tarot, there are people falling out of the Tower, and they don't look brilliantly happy, but they don't look terrified. That's the thing. It's a bit like, when you get a problem with your home and you have to find another home, and you go out and, God willing, if you're lucky, you find one. And eventually, we all seem to find a place. I don't want to make light of homelessness, which is such a huge problem. But hopefully, in a slightly more liberal world, homelessness is going to be much better addressed than it's being addressed at the moment. In this card, in this version of the Tower of Destruction, there's a big firework display going off. And it's happening because Alice has whipped the tablecloth off the table and she's scattered the stuff all over the floor. And I probably said this to you before in readings about this card, because it kind of makes me chuckle, because I remember my oldest daughter, when she was about 4 years old, used to always have the intention of tearing the tablecloth off because she wanted to see if this trick worked, and I always stopped her, and so she never actually found out. But her mum tells me that one day she actually did, when I wasn't there, and stuff went everywhere and things got broken, which wasn't good. But you know, we weren't too cross with her. It was all stuff we could fix. Basically, she'd just made a mess, and she'd made it without meaning to make a mess. She'd made it trying to do something clever. So there's a messy situation here for sure, and since this is the middle card, I'm going to attach it to the middle day of the week, which is Wednesday, when that Aries moon reaches half full. But the whole point is, it's only half full. And inauguration is only the first day of something. Lots of change can happen in the wake of it. Things can be put right in the wake of it. And the big fireworks display going off, nothing to worry about really. I'm seeing that as quite a joyful thing. I'm seeing that as things being, you know, reparation being made, something of that nature, you know, because people just can't get away with stuff even if they're in very high office. That's a fact. Let me have a quick drink of water. Love that Berkey filtered water. And because it's winter at the moment, it's so cold. It hasn't been in the fridge or anything like that, but it tastes as if it's got ice cubes in it because it's so cold. Absolutely love it, and it tastes so pure as well. Anyway, card number 4 coming up right now. Now, I was just saying that the Tower card that we had a second ago, let's get these things in order. The Tower card that we had a second ago came 3 after the Death card, and I notice, looking at this one, it is the Death card. Right. So this is what comes after inauguration, really, and it's the killing off of the old ways. It's the death of the way things used to be, and it's rebirth. Rebirth really strongly goes with this card. Sure, it's the Death card. Really what this card is talking about is the end of the way things have been in the recent past, in the last few years, most certainly. But can you see what's going on here? Alice is blowing the candle out. She's actually blown the candle out. She's got over her fear of being left in darkness immediately because there's turquoise all over the place. The smoke is a kind of turquoise colour, excuse me, and there is illumination in the scene, even though the candle has been blown out. And sometimes, in fact very often actually, to really get into a new scene, a new situation, a happier place, we have to blow out the candle on the past. It's an important thing to do. You know what I'm talking about, the flow of abundance, that kind of thing. You know, so one door closes, another door opens. You've got to close that first door, or that first door has to somehow close before the next door is going to open. And right about then, the camera cut off. I am so sorry. Anyway, that was card number 4. Let's do card number 5, moving along swiftly. Card number 5 is this one. It's number 9 in the Major Arcana. The arcana that keeps on arcaning. And it's the Hermit in this case. And this really is the sort of wrapping up the week, the sort of Friday card, as it were. If you picked card 5, this is yours. If you picked all 5, this is where it sort of ends up on its way to the next step. Because it is, of course, number 9. And that is always a great gift, really, in a reading, because when you get a number 9, you know there's going to be a number 10, and then there's going to be a number 11, and the journey and the cycle is going to start again. But we are very near to a state of completion here, and I'm sure in terms of what we've been talking about, Inauguration Day, whoever is involved in Mr. Biden's administration going forward is going to have an awful lot to do to put things right before the next step can be taken. But it really fits in very well with the Tarot in Wonderland story of the deck, this, because in this card we can see Alice tearfully waving goodbye to this character who's actually the Knight of Cups in this deck, as well as turning up as the Hermit. So, you know, he's someone who appreciates the good things in life, for sure. But in this case, he's the Hermit, and he's riding away from Alice, and Alice is very sorry to see him go, actually. But, you know, the past is like that, we have to let go of it sometimes, and whatever horrors we might have been through in the last few years, I'm sure we've had good times along the way. That's the nature of life. It's one of the kind of gifts of life, really. And we're always having to move on from one day to the next, from one phase of life to the next. That's how it goes, and that's how it works. Just checking there, because I think my cat is drinking my glass of water, so I want to get a fresh glass, because she smells of something pretty bad at the moment. Anyway, Alice is waving goodbye, but she actually will see the Hermit again when he comes back out into the world. And the story of the Wonderland Tarot is Alice growing up, maturing into a woman. That journey from childhood to adulthood that we all have to go on, you know, and it's a metaphor, even when we're adults, for the journey we go on through life, and that contemplation is needed for sure. I mean, that's the main thing about this card. And if you only pick this card, friends, take it as a sign to look inside yourself and really kind of try and bring out the best of yourself. That's what the spiritual journey is always trying to do. It's always trying to get us closer in touch with our higher self. But it's saying goodbye to something here, only very temporarily, and then, you know, good things are going to come in. There's going to be a happier way forward, and things are going to work out a whole lot better. So, no, she didn't drink out of it, so I'm going to drink out of it. Maybe she did. I don't know. I've got cat disease now. She did, but who knows? Never mind. So guys, then that's it for this week. Thanks very, very much for watching. Big thumbs up, please, if you've enjoyed this one. Do leave me a comment, as I kept asking, actually. It's great to read your comments. It's great to know what your take is on this video. And particularly my friends in the States, and to a great extent Canada as well, where you're really kind of feeling what's going on with the Washington events. Leave me a comment. It's great to sort of know how it feels out there, actually, because you know, thousands of miles are involved, certainly, that keep us apart, but as we found out doing the live videos, it's possible to do mediumship for someone on the other side of the world. That's a wonderful thing, and as human beings, we really are all connected. So leave me a comment, guys, let me know what you thought about this, and just say hello. It's kind of uplifting for me. Links to all good things down below, ko-fi.com/Andy's Readings. If you'd like to just have a look at the pictures that I've put on there of life, the universe and everything as it is here in West Wales, UK. You can buy me or the channel a coffee if you would like to as well on that page. But there's also Facebook, there's also Instagram. Stuff's always happening. Now, I'm going to be back on Tuesday with a live session again. Really enjoyed the live session last week, and I love doing lives because I can actually pick a card specifically for you. I can maybe do some mediumship, you know, that's just a whole lot more. You know, I can use the pendulum. Working one-to-one, even though lots of people come into those live videos, we can take a couple of minutes for everyone, and we can give a bit of a message, some hope, and a bit of a reading to everyone. So that's going to be 8:30 p.m. UK time, GMT, which is 2:30 p.m. Central in the States and Canada. So I hope you guys can work out your time from that, wherever you are in the world. I usually do them on Wednesday, but Wednesday's a big day all in its own way this week, isn't it? So it'll be Tuesday night, live right here on YouTube. You know, subscribe so you won't miss the notification for that, and I look forward to seeing you then. Meanwhile, friends, thanks again for watching. Love, light, blessings, and peace.